Okay, in this video I'm going to be taking you through my level 1 high powered certification rocket. It's got a fully 3D printed nose cone, a cardboard body tube, a 3D printed motor retainer down the end there, and 4 carbon fiber fins. We'll take a closer look at the nose cone, and as you can already tell, it's got a faceted structure going all the way around, the lines and flat bits, and that's a result of 3D printing. And you can tell from the sound it's quite hollow for the most bit. However, it does have a much denser portion up top to give it some extra bit of strength to lower the chances of it cracking upon ground impact directly with the tip. And the tip has been rounded and been dabbed with epoxy for the same reason. Right, moving on. For the shoulder, I've got some tape going around it and around the top of the airframe. This is to provide a snug fit between these two components and some friction to prevent premature separation of the nose cone from the airframe due to pressure differences. As for these two bobs, well, after I built the rocket, I realized that the static margin, which is the distance between the center of gravity and the center of pressure, was lower than what I was comfortable with for this build at least. So I ended up adding some mass to the nose cone in the form of some bolts and nuts to move the overall center of gravity towards the front of the rocket. Alright, I'll take out the shock cord here and look at that, Tangle parachute. Surprise, surprise. Right, the shock cord goes in through one hole and out the other, and that's just if you were wondering what these two holes were for. Alright, moving on to the airframe. Well, it's based on Nemo, the fish movie, and I'm sure you guys have all seen it. I'll spin it around here, and now you can tell that the paintwork is not the flashiest. In fact, it was quite rushed because I did not wait for the epoxy to dry off completely before beginning to paint. I've got 2 rail buttons here, one in between the fins and one near the center of gravity. They are pretty well aligned, and this is something you guys please make sure of, the alignment, because although you can get away with some misalignment between the two, but you just want to be safe than sorry, because on launch day when you are sliding this thing onto the rail, that extra bit of friction can knock off one of the rail buttons, and that's trouble you don't want to run into. And then again, just when you are securing these rail guides or buttons to the surface of the airframe, if you're gluing them, just make sure to take off the surface paint and rough up the bottom of the rail guides to give it a extra or a stronger bond between the rail guide, the airframe, and the epoxy. Right, as for the fins, these were CNC routed off from a flat plate or a wet layup of a flat plate of carbon fiber that I did myself. You've got a motor retainer cap here, giving the rocket a boat tail effect at the bottom. Nothing fancy, it's just 3D printed, just like the nose cone, and it's made out of PLA, like with all the other 3D print components used in the rocket. And right, here you can see with the residue here and here that I used a bit too much paint, or actually I rushed the paint and used a bit too much epoxy. So yeah, the worst looking part of the rocket, I guess. We'll take the motor out. This is the base of the retainer that's also been epoxy to the rocket, and you can see inside the cardboard motor tube, or inner tube if you prefer. We won't be able to get to the inside of the inside assembly of the rocket just because we can't get enough light in there, but I can say that it's quite standard. The inner tube and a 2 centering ring assembly, one about here and one around here. So yeah, that's that. I flew on a Aerotech H182R, a disposable motor system. This motor had a burn time of 1.2 seconds and a 218 Newton second impulse. Alright, that's it really for this rocket. It was quite a simple build. I do have 2 more rockets to present before I take you guys through my supersonic minimum diameter build that I did recently. So keep an eye out for those videos. And yeah, that's it for this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.